All right, so the grammar part, as you can see, it consists of something like 3 exercises. Okay, exercise 1, exercise number 2, and exercise number 3. Let's start with exercise number 1. And exercise number 1 has to do with rewriting. So they ask you to rewrite. They ask you to rewrite the sentence. So they give you at least 3 sentences. For example, 1, 2, 3. This is from the National Baccalaureate Exam of 2020, as I said. So here, as you can see in exercise C, they ask you to rewrite the following sentences as indicated or as suggested. All right, this is the indication or the suggested expressions. All right, now look here. The lessons that this exercise has to do with, for example, it has to do with passive, it has to do with reported speech. It can also be related to cause and effect, okay? And it can also be related to concession. It can also be related to what we call conditionals, all right? Or even with wish, all right? You will always find them in such exercise. How do we know that here, for instance, we are going to have conditional, or we are going to have cause and effect, or passive or reported speech? How? This is something that you get. This is something that you get from the starting expressions, and we are going to see how. For example, in number 1, could you please give me more information about the project? Asked the journalist. The journalist asked the minister. The journalist asked the minister. So when you say the journalist asked the minister, he asked someone, this has to do with a reported speech. Could you please give me more information about the project? What is this? This is a request. This is a request. So here we are reporting a request, and we have already studied a request. If you have not seen this, you can go back to the episodes I have and watch how we report requests. So the journalist asked the minister to give what? To give more information about the project. So a request, as you can see, here we have the reporting verb, and here we have the object to plus verb. This is how we report and requests, okay? How we report requests, okay? So this is it. So we know this from the starting expression. So this means here we are concerned with reported speech. If we go to number 2, this school offers students interesting activities. They have here student. Now student is what in the sentence? So here we have, as you can see, subject. This is the verb, and this is object. This is also object, but it is not important. So they start with object. So this means automatically here we are concerned with the passive. We are concerned with the passive. Why? Because they start with object of the sentence. So what would we say here to correct this? So we said object plus verb be in the tense of the verb plus the past participle of the verb. So we need verb. So the first thing you have to keep in mind is the verb. What tense is this? This is the present simple. The present simple. So verb to be is going to be in present simple. We conjugate the verb be in present simple. Students, verb be in present simple, are. Why are? Very simply because we have students, plural. Are, past participle of offer is offered. This is verb be and past participle offered. What? Offered interesting activities. You can say by the school. Here we can say by the school. You can say that, by the school, all right? So this has to do with passive. Why? Because here, this is the object of the sentence, all right? So the starting expression is the one that tells you what to do. Wish, conditional, cause, effect, concession, reported speech, or passive. These ones, okay? Let's go to number 3. Number 3, as you can see here, we have Fred received the invitation, yet he did not attend the party. In spite of. So in spite of is for what? In spite of is of concession. And we said that in spite of and despite are plus what? Plus the ing form or noun. So in spite of plus ing or plus noun. This is something that we saw in previous episodes, and we saw them in classes for my students. So in spite of, so here we need what? We need either an ing or noun. If we have ing, we would say in spite of receiving the invitation or in spite of the invitation. All right. So as you can see here, what do we have? We have in spite of receiving the invitation. This is ing. and in spite of the invitation, this is noun, comma, he didn't, he, so here we have he, and here we have noun. So it's better, because here we don't have noun, so it's better to use the noun. So Fred didn't attend the invitation. Okay, so just keep in mind, in spite of, despite, these have to do with concession, and they are always followed by either ing or the noun. For instance, here we can say in spite of receiving the invitation, or in spite of the invitation as a noun. Okay, all right, this is for 2020 exam. Let's go to another one. Let's go to the 2020 exam again. Oh, this is catch-up exam. Here we have again the same exercise, but it is in exercise E. Rewrite the following sentences as indicated. The interview will be at the director's office, the secretary said. The secretary told Amin that. Told Amin that. So the secretary told Amin that. So this is what? This is very simply the reported speech. So reported speech from this sentence. The secretary told Amin that. And this is one. And number two, because we have the interview will be at the director's office, it is between quotation mark. So here we are concerned with the reported speech. Okay, so the secretary told Amin that the interview, what are we to change? Will, it is would. So the interview would be at the director's office. So here we are going to change only will, it becomes would. That the interview would be in the director's office. Full stop. Number two, the school clubs organized an interesting environmental campaign. An interesting environmental campaign. What is this? This is the object. This is the object of the sentence. So when they start the sentence, when they start with the object, this is automatically passive voice. So look, as long as here we have passive voice, the subject is the school clubs and the verb is organized. Organized in past simple. So verb to be is going to be in past simple. An interesting environmental campaign, this is singular, so the verb be in the past singular was. So we are going to say an interesting environmental campaign was organized. Past participle of the verb organized was organized by the school clubs. All right, so this is passive voice. You have to keep in mind this in mind. All right, most countries close schools because of the spread of COVID-19. Because of the spread of COVID-19. Now here we have due to. Due to is for what? Due to is very simply for cause. So it is followed by cause. And also I told you that due to is also plus ing or noun. Ing or noun. So what can we say here? Due to the spread of COVID-19, comma, most countries closed schools. All right. Due to the spread of COVID-19, the spread, noun, due to the spread, noun. Okay, all right, so this is for exercise, this one that has to do with rewriting the sentence. So keep in mind that the starting phrase, the suggested phrase, the phrase indicated are the ones that tell you what to do. For example, the journalist asked the minister, this is what? This is a reported speech. Ask the minister, because this is a reporting verb, asked the minister, reported speech. The student is an object, so this is passive. And here we have Fred received in spite of, this is concession. All right, concession. This is very simple to know. Let's go to D, exercise D, and this is also very crucial, very important. Exercise D has to do with tenses, okay? And the most common tenses for baccalaureate students are future perfect, past simple, and present perfect, and past perfect. This is something that we have already studied and we have already seen. I'm going to give you techniques to do this exercise very simply. So if we go to, this is 2020, exercise D, this is exercise D, put the verbs in brackets in the correct tense, in the correct tense. So here they give you verbs in brackets and you put them in the correct tense. Let's see number one. I was too late for music concert because I was too late. This is past. I was too late for the music concert because I not take the first bus. Because. Now here we have the keyword because. We have because and we have I was late. I was too late. This is past simple. So automatically here we are talking about the past perfect, okay, the past perfect. Why? Because here we have two actions, one in the past simple, so the following one in past perfect, and we have the linking word because, and we said that because is always followed by past perfect, okay, because past perfect. All right, so what are we to say here? Because I had not because not take negative. I had not taken the first bus. I had not taken the first bus. This is the past perfect. Had plus past participle. Okay, had plus past participle of the verb. Here we have not, so had not taken or hadn't taken. Let's see number 2. Monsef Slaoui graduates from the Free University of Brussels in 1983 before he joined Harvard Medical School. Again, here we have 2 actions. We have Monsef Slaoui graduated, and we have he joined the Harvard Medical School. One in the past simple, joined Harvard University, and we have the keyword before. So automatically the other action is going to be in past perfect because it comes first. So Monsef Slaoui had graduated. Had past perfect, had graduated. So why past perfect here? Because here we have before, the linking word before, and here we have another action which is in the past simple. I told you before that past perfect is always with past simple. If we go to another one, to the 2020 catch-up exam, exercise D. Put the verbs in brackets in the correct tense again. So here we have when I got to the office yesterday, the meeting already starts. Now here we have again 2 actions. We have I got to the office in past simple, and we have the meeting starts. And we have the keyword when. All right, so here we have 2 actions and when plus past simple. So the other action is what? Very simply past perfect. Past perfect. So what are we going to say here? We are going to say the meeting had already started. Had already started. And remember, already between had and past participle, already here in between. Okay, so why past perfect here? Because 2 things. 2 actions, one in the past, and we have the keyword when. When. So keywords of past perfect like when, before, because, as soon as, etc. So we have seen different ones. You can go back to the past perfect lesson and watch that lesson. Let's see number 2. By the end of next August, I spent 4 years in Morocco. How many actions do we have here? We have 1 action. Spend 4 years in Morocco. And the expression we have by the end of the next August. So here we have the expression by something, by the end of, by June, by August, by the end of this year, by the end of this month. These are expressions or keywords or time expressions of the future perfect. We have already seen this in future perfect lesson, and we have seen this in the classroom for my students. So we can say by the end of next August, what? I will have spent. I will have spent. So past perfect is will plus have plus past participle. So I will have spent. Why? Very simply because here we have the expression by the end of next August. So this is the exercise of the correct tense. You put the verbs in the correct tense. All right, let's go to exercise number 3 in the grammar part. So exercise number 3 has to do with to choose. So they ask you to choose the correct word to complete. For example, here they ask you to fill in the blanks with the correct words from the list. This is 1. Or, for example, if you go to this one, you have choose the correct answer. To choose the correct answer, or to complete, or to fill in the blank. So to choose the correct answer, or to fill in the blank. So this exercise has to do with this. Look, it has to do with modal verbs. It has to do with modal verbs to complete the sentence with an appropriate modal verb, or it has to do with phrasal verbs, okay? Or it can be related to what we call the relative pronouns, okay? The relative pronouns. So relative pronouns or phrasal verbs or modal verbs. For example, here in the 2020 catch-up exam, for instance, here we have Rashida miss her interview tomorrow because she needs the job to support her family. So here we have to complete the sentences with needn't, shouldn't, or wouldn't. These are modal verbs. So we have to choose the correct one. So Rashida miss her interview tomorrow because she needs the job to support her family. So this is like what? This is kind of advice to Rashida. So we can say Rashida should not or shouldn't miss the interview. Why she shouldn't? Because she needs the job to support her family. This is very important for her. Local authorities should give priority to areas suffer from poverty and crime. Suffer from poverty and crime. So here we have, this has to do with relative pronouns. Whose, which, or whom. Whose is for possession, which is for describing something, okay? And whom is for person. So what do we have here? We have areas. So areas is something that we can describe. So we are not going to say areas whose or areas whom, because whose is for possession and whom is for person. But areas a place, and a place is something that we can describe. So we can say local authorities should give priority to areas which suffer from poverty and crime. We can go to the other one. Here again in the 2020 exam, we have choose the correct answer. So here we have a tablet will be given to the student. So student is a person. Wins the competition. So here we have whom, and we have who, and we have which. The student who wins. Student who wins the competition. Why who? Because who is as a subject. Who wins, the verb wins, so we need subjects. So who wins the competition? Number 2, I'm not really sure about the place of our meeting tomorrow. It's in the same conference room. I'm not really sure. So here you have to complete with might be, had been, or must be, and this is something to do with modal verbs. So what? So here we have I'm not sure. So the modal verb that has to do with uncertainty, it might. So we should say it might be in the same conference room. It might be in the same conference room. Okay, so this is for the exercise E that has to do with choosing the appropriate answer to complete the sentence or to fill in the blanks with one of the choices you are given. And this exercise is related to modal verbs with phrasal verbs and relative pronouns. Okay, so this is for the grammar part. The grammar part as far as the language is concerned. We have to rewrite the sentences based on the suggested expressions or the suggested phrases. Exercise D, the correct tense. So we have to pay attention to the keywords or expressions. You have to pay attention to the form past perfect had past participle, and the future perfect will have plus past participle. This is for the exercises of grammar.